With no sign of demonstrations dying down, Hong Kong will end 2019 and usher in the new year with more protests. Police have just given the green light for a major rally on New Year's Day, despite a recent rise in clashes. Pro-democracy group, the Civil Human Rights Front, will lead the protest march from Causeway Bay to Central District. The group say they are expecting a massive turnout. Police have warned that in the event of any violence, the demonstration will be cancelled. So for the latest, our correspondent Long Wai Kit joins us live from Hong Kong right now. Wai Kit, will the protest plan for New Year's Eve dampen celebrations?
Well, definitely for some. Imagine you're at Times Square in Causeway Bay, a popular countdown spot for many Hong Kongers, and violence were to take place nearby. That will definitely be a dampener to some Hong Kong people's moods. And this year, remember, the police have already said that they expect violence to take place on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. But that's not all to my answer. I must also present to you another perspective, and that is that violence will not dampen the mood of some Hong Kong people. And I say this because by now, most Hong Kong people, as well as observers watching from outside the city, they'll be able to establish some form of pattern and the movement of the ongoing protests. For instance, in early June, the violence was confined to the streets. Recently, in late November, the violence crept into and stayed on in university campuses. And in recent weeks, as the police have also pointed out, the violence is now inside random shopping malls. So if you were to plan your parties around these hotspots, it's very likely that you'll be able to avoid violence. And I must also point out that when I was on duty last week during Christmas Eve, I told you about tear gas, petrol bombs, water cannon trucks, but I also saw in other parts of Hong Kong how families, loved ones, couples were celebrating and bringing in Christmas on other parts of Ireland. So it's very important for me to present to you these two opposing views for fairness and balance.
Wai Kit, it's been almost 7 months of unrest in Hong Kong. Can we expect anything to change in 2020?
Well, Dawn, some things will remain constant. For instance, protesters' demands, the authorities' firm stance against violence. Police will continue to be firm in their enforcement action. But one thing that could be different moving into 2020 could be that the police might be stepping up its soft approach. And one very obvious indication is earlier on Monday, they pushed out a PR video on their Facebook page summing up 7 months of violence, condemning the protesters, as well as praising police officers for their work in protecting Hong Kong. Now, earlier on Monday during the police news conference, the officers also took the chance to speak directly to the average Hong Kong citizen. Let's take a listen to what was said.
On the first day of 2020, there will be a public procession expected to draw a large turnout. We appeal to the organizer and participant to remain calm and rational. Let us kickstart 2020 with peace and get Hong Kong back on the right track.
Now, another indication that the police are stepping up their soft approach is that, remember, there have been a large number of protesters arrested, and these are below the age of 18. So although the police said that these people have offended, they want to ensure that these youngsters also get professional access to counseling, for instance. So in that sense, they've been working and facilitating with several community services to give them access to professional help and counseling.
Wai Kit, thank you very much for that update. We've been speaking there to our correspondent, Long Wai Kit, live for us in Hong Kong.